Chairman, two questions. What would it take to gain the support of the caucus for the financial regulatory reform bill in the House floor next week? Also, if the caucus did not vote, voted against the bill today, it would have died in committee. Are you prepared to vote against it on the floor if you don't get what you want?
We're prepared as 10 members of the Financial Services Committee to use our power to leverage opportunities for our community. This particular moment provides an opportunity. This is a bill that would give expanded powers to the regulatory agencies, unprecedented powers. They would be able to examine, to dismantle, to downsize, and they would have legal bailout authority. The bailouts that we have been doing have basically been for too big to fail. And so if we're going to support extraordinary powers for these regulatory agencies, we have to be sure that these powers will be used to benefit small and minority businesses just as well. And so we continue to work with all those, leadership and administration and otherwise, to come up with ways by which we can do this.
Yeah, but name specifics on what it would take to get specific measures, specific programs to get your support for this bill.
No, I'm sorry, I cannot do that, because what you're asking me is to give you A, B, C, D of specifics in order to get our vote. And what I'd like to tell you is that we're working on a number of proposals. We have engaged everyone. People are exploring ways by which they can equalize the playing field around some of these issues and make sure that minorities and people of color and working people can benefit. Yes.
Ms. Waters, what connection do you see between jobs or lack of jobs in minority communities, the faltering economy, and the military buildup the President called for last night, and the ability of the country to pay for it?
My only statement to that is this. We are trying to focus on the domestic agenda. The domestic agenda needs a lot of attention as we move forward to talk about whether or not we're going to have a second stimulus, whether or not we're going to have a job creation program. I think that's where we need to be engaged legislatively, and with that kind of engagement, we can come up with ways by which to do job creation and expansion and include more opportunities for those who have been left out.
Does having to pay for the war hamper those things that you just...
Do you have confidence that the Treasury Secretary understands these concerns that you've expressed? Do you think that he understands what the Congressional Black Caucus is asking for?
What we believe is that we have a responsibility to educate. We believe that a lot of people do not understand, and sometimes, they would say, oh, they're just asking for something that they don't deserve, and we see the figures, we see the numbers, we see the devastation. Increasingly, your newspapers are writing about it. You're telling everybody, look at what is going on. 28% of African Americans on food stamps. Look at the unemployment among black youth. Where are they going to go? What does this mean? You're right. Keep writing about it, and we're going to keep working on it.
Ms. Waters.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do the Democratic leaders understand your concerns as well as the administration?
We're going to spend every waking moment educating everybody. As a matter of fact, the 10 members of the Financial Services Committee meet in conference call every morning. Since we've been out, as I reminded about this time by Mel Watt, at 6 a.m. in the morning from California to 9 a.m. in Washington, D.C. We're all convened every morning, and we will continue to do that so that we can forge ways by which to educate and influence. And one of the ways that we influence is just reminding people we're 10 members on the Financial Services Committee, yes.
Would you like to see a jobs bill on the floor before the financial regulation bill?
I'd like to see a jobs bill yesterday. I want to tell you, being at home in our districts over this break that we have had has not been so good. It's hard to enjoy Thanksgiving when so many people are without jobs, when so many people are knocking at your door asking for help. I, as many others, participated in some of the turkey giveaways. We gave away 10,000 baskets at one location in Los Angeles with a woman 94 years old standing in line, the crippled, the blind, the disabled. It was horrible. It was awful. So yes, we'd like to see a jobs bill very soon. Yes, and then back to you.
Ms. Waters, the President of the United States is a former community organizer in Chicago. Do you think he has been sufficiently attentive and focused on the issues that you're talking about?
I think that it is important for us to educate those people around him, those people who are in charge of the agencies, those people who have the responsibility for bringing advice to him. I think it's very important for this to work its way to him while he's concentrating on Afghanistan, while he's concentrating on all of these other issues that he's been confronted with. I think we've got to get his people educated and moving so that they can make sure that he understands what is going on.
Have you brought these issues to him personally? And what
No,
has been
we
his
don't.
response?
We have not brought these issues to him personally. First of all, it is important to educate those around him so that they can understand. For example, when we look at the Financial Services Committee and we look at the Consumer Protection Agency, we look at the Oversight Committee, and we see that the Oversight Committee does not have one minority on it. And we say, you look at why is this? It's because it is structured so that the heads of the agencies are the only ones who do the oversight. So we did an amendment, and our amendment would expand it by 5 more places, and we describe those presidential appointments in ways that will get to more women and minorities so that they could be on the Consumer Protection Agency Oversight Committee. But we think that that kind of lack of understanding, that kind of appreciation that here you are organizing the Consumer Financial Protection Agency and the very people who have been targeted and have been harmed are not represented on it, is just a matter of not understanding. And so we have to educate people and get them so that they're talking about these issues in ways that make good sense yet. Oh, no, I'm sorry, you were next.
So the people around him, fine, but to follow up on Glenn's question, what about the president himself? Does he get it?
Oh, we expect once the president is focused on our issues, and these issues are brought to him by those around him who have the responsibility for bringing forth these issues and giving advice, we feel that not only will he understand, but he would move to do something
He's got
about
a job summit tomorrow. Too little, too late?
No, oh, no, absolutely. I mean, that's but one job summit. I mean, one job summit at the White House does not solve the problem. He still has more to hear about.
Since last Thursday, have you had a chance to meet with anybody else, the in Treasury or in the administration?
Throughout our meetings, we've met with heads of about all of the financial services agencies throughout what we're doing.
What's been their response to your
Well, they listen very attentively, and some of them have taken to some of our suggestions, and so I didn't know that. For example, there is an executive order that had been issued by Clinton that would help to simply deposit government money into some minority banks. For example, if you have all of this government money and you can put it in any banks that you want to, some of that should go to minority banks. All of them depend on having capital. And so that's a very simple thing. It doesn't cost anybody any money. It just raises the awareness that there's diversity in our economic structures out there and that they should be able to participate like everybody else. Yes, sir.
Will the CBC think of allying itself with the Republicans, maybe some blue dollars on ad hoc amendments? We have regulatory reform coming up and other issues. Maybe that would stress the point.
All that we can tell you now is that we are focused and we're prepared to do what we need to do to truly represent our communities and not simply be legislators who are just inside the box going along with the protocols as usual. We're prepared to use our strength and our influence to better represent our communities. Yes, somebody over here had their hand up. I want to get everybody. You talked already. Yes, you.
My understanding was that there have been meetings with Mr. Emanuel at the White House. Do you feel that he's not sharing your concerns with President Obama?
I feel that there is a process that they go through at the White House where they get the information, they examine the information, they play the information, and it eventually works its way up. The most important thing is that those who have the responsibility for advising the president understand these issues. Again, another example, when you talk about the census and advertising, we said to them, many of the church newspapers that basically go out every week may be one of the strongest ways by which you get to people to have to deal with the undercount. They said, oh, so we're educating, we're exploring, and we're working with them to correct some of the inadequacies in the system, and we think the work that we do will determine the outcome. Yes, ma'am.
You had a meeting in March with Ben Bernanke regarding the stimulus money, much the same issues. I'm wondering, are you going to at some point have to break off and not wait for leadership to do its thing? Break off on your own and just, offer legislation and just forge ahead? Or are you going to wait for a cue from George Miller or Speaker Pelosi?
We wait for no one. As a matter of fact, the 10 members who have decided that we needed to assess what is going on very carefully. It was not necessary for us to feel that we're not good legislators if we don't rush in there and vote for the recovery, economic recovery legislators. We are not only defining what is wrong, but we are looking very closely at perhaps what we could have done, what we should have done, but no more are we looking backwards. We're looking forward, and we're going to use our power and our influence to help alleviate this devastation in our communities. I think that's it. I hope that this has been helpful to you. We will continue to work on it, and we will continue, when we have something to share with you, to engage you. We will do that. Thank you very much.